Yes.
More of a commentary than anything else. I find some people that they're anti-vax because it's, like you said earlier, anti-corporate.
Mm-hmm.
And yet those same people believe the science behind climate change because they'll blame corporations for the problem of climate change, and therefore, again, it's anti-corporate.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that hypocrisy?
So just the question was, some people are anti-corporate, and so therefore they're anti-vaccine, but they'll believe climate change because they can still blame the corporations. So I would meet them halfway. I would agree with them that climate change is largely due to corporations and countries profiting from externalities. If we don't price pollution, there'll be a lot of it. Agree with them that there have been no shortage of pharmaceutical company bad behavior. So agree with them as far as you can, and then say, but most vaccines, although administered by corporations, they don't have patents on them. They're primarily being used as manufacturers because they've already got the facilities. A lot of the vaccines have been invented by scientists from various governments, not entirely. Some have been shown. Some have been created by companies. But agree with them as far as you can, and then say, but in the case of vaccines, profit margins are far lower than in other areas, and they're effective. So you can kind of do a jujitsu maneuver, or the verbal equivalent of a jujitsu maneuver, by agreeing with whoever you're talking with as far as you can, and then say why that doesn't apply in its entirety to the topic at hand. Any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, do you feel like your friend let you know about any other beliefs that weren't evidence-based before this point, or did it come out of nowhere?
It came out of nowhere.
That's
fucked up. This friend of mine, I would not have spent months talking to this person if it was like a random internet troll. This is someone I grew up with, someone I was really good friends with. So I had assumed that there was actually something to it and that he knew something I didn't. So most of my conversation with him was like, am I wrong? Like, can you tell me where I'm wrong? I think it works. So I figure you've got two ways to go here. You can either show me that the risks of vaccines or the dangers or the harmful effects of vaccines are far greater than I think they are, or that the beneficial effect of vaccines are far lower than I think they are. So which of these is true, or maybe both? And I tried to help him of how he could convince me, but that was never forthcoming. And but no, I had no hint in advance that he held these sort of anti-reality opinions, and he held them fairly closely. At the back.
The WHO just made vaccine hesitancy one of the World Health threats, and I'm wondering if you think that's helping with this conversation to do more of what you're talking about.
So the question was, or the comment was, the WHO, the World Health Organization, labeled vaccine hesitancy as one of the world's great health threats, and is that helping? I think it does. I mean, it's to the truly committed, that only proves how high the conspiracy goes. But that's the denialists. For the hesitant, the World Health Organization is something that has not been taken over by corporate interests, and by listing that among other very well-known threats to human health, I think that is helpful. Yes.
How do you deal with dueling studies? It seems like not necessarily just in this conversation, but in a lot of them, somebody says, well, here are some facts and evidence, and somebody else has different evidence that they consider to be evidence, and parsing it. I mean, and as for the memes, like we all know, anybody can make a meme that says anything. But so how do you combat when you present information beyond the storytelling and the personal touch, when people start throwing their anti-vax studies at you?
So the question was, this is science. There's always competing opinions, and you can always find a study somewhere that supports your view. So if you quote a study and someone else quotes another study supporting an anti-vax perspective, how do you make that effective? And there's two things that I would suggest. One is when it comes to vaccinations, it's one of the areas in science where there is a consensus, where anyone who has any expertise, there's virtually no one that's seriously questioning the efficacy of vaccines. So much like climate science or the germ theory of disease, it's something that has been the efficacy of vaccines has been well established. And so you can just say that basically every expert agrees on this. And the other one is I would just go back to storytelling. You can tell that vaccines work because people only get sick from the measles or polio where the community is not vaccinated. And it's as simple as that. You can see the effects for yourself in the world. All right, I think I saw a couple other hands.
One more.
One more I see over here. Yeah.
All right, so my question is a bit more holistic, because what we're talking about is now that you have an anti-vaxxer movement, what are some preventative strategies that you can accomplish? But my question is, why are we in this place? Why are we even having this conversation in the first place? Why is there an anti-vaxxer movement? Isn't that the crux of the issue?
So my question is, why is there an anti-vax movement at all? You know, I wish I knew.
Jenny McCarthy, celebrities who are getting up.
Ugh. Gross.
Yeah,
Because my gripe is when the targeted content that is being fed to you that puts you into this feedback loop of, oh, I'm interested in this conspiracy theory, so I'm going to read about it, and next thing you know, everything is about that conspiracy theory.
Yeah, so I think, the comment, the question was a more holistic view. Why are we having this conversation? And that targeted social media and echo chambers are probably a factor. And I would agree with that. I think what is missing more generally is any information that you want to find. You can always find an argument for your conclusion. Whatever it is that you want to think, you can go online and find an argument that sounds good to support it. And what we don't really have is an established or commonly well-known way that individuals know, but not everybody, and not enough people, have a way of evaluating different perspectives and determining what is actually a more accurate description of a sequence of events. And people are relying too much on comforting stories and not enough on evidence and reason to draw their conclusions. And I think we do need more, societal education on, okay, here are two competing hypotheses to explain an event. Which one is closer to being accurate? Or maybe which one is accurate and which isn't? Which is a long way of saying people need to understand the scientific method better. But in today's world, that is becoming ever more important. So thank you very much.
Woo!